Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Jyotirmayananda channel. We focus on spirituality, a journey to self-realization. Please subscribe for the mystical meanings of the scriptures and to enjoy daily satsang with us. We are currently exploring the book The Art of Positive Feeling, authored by Swami Jyotirmayananda Maharaj, my Guruji, and narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. So today we are picking up another very important vice. It is called jealousy or matsarya that needs to be controlled on our journey to self-realization. There are three terms in Sanskrit for jealousy: irsha, asuya, and matsarya. Isha refers to the common, relatively mild form of jealousy that people feel day to day when they perceive that someone else is surpassing them, unfairly so, in manners such as looks, popularity, fame, wealth, happiness, and sometimes even spiritual advancement. Interestingly enough, it is Isha which helps sustain movement in the average person's life. If there were no jealousy, many people would wake up lazily and decide to stay in bed all day. Jealousy makes them get up fast and work harder. This form of jealousy plays some positive role in life because it spurs one to make self effort and move forward. However, Isha itself is a Rajasic sentiment, a product of a distracted and restless mind, and as long as such it is there, it must be sublimated on the way to real progress and prosperity. When Irsha becomes increasingly tamasic or impure, it assumes the form of asuya and then matsarya. When seeing another person happier or more successful than you causes your heart to burn, jealousy has become more tamasic and has assumed its more perverted and gross form as asuya. This form of jealousy is accompanied by an urge to degrade the other person, to pursue his defects in order to soothe your own mind. Backbiting and scandal mongering are often associated with asuya. Matsarya is still more destructive and perverse. Not only do you feel a burning sensation in your heart, but you start seriously planning what to do in order to hurt the other person towards whom you are jealous. Obsessed with the idea that his very existence has become a source of misery, a threat to your happiness in life, you become intensely involved in destroying, hurting, and removing the person from your way. Jealousy and its ramifications. Jealousy is generally associated with many negative traits of personality. It directs a person to be fraudulent and insincere with those around him, and it promotes irritability, anger, hatred, cruelty, and pride. It degrades the mind by obstructing the feeling of cosmic love. Like a mental fever, it saps out the energy and vitality of man. If you study the history of human beings from ancient times, you will see how the tamasic form of jealousy has caused great devastation. Such jealousy destroys harmony among family members, friends, and neighbors, co workers, nations, and even among aspirants in ashrams or spiritual centers. Jealousy is a great enemy of culture and progress among human beings. It has ruined many homes, frustrated many hopes, and broken many hearts. The jealousy of Queen Kaikai. One of the most poignant examples of the devastating and far reaching effects of jealousy is found in the Ramayana. One day after the marriage of his sons, at a time when all forms of prosperity flowed to Ayodhya like rivers flowing into the ocean, with abundant waters during the rains, King Dashratha approached Guru Vasishtha and expressed his cherished desire to see Prince Rama declared the successor or heir apparent to the throne. Sage Vasishtha agreed readily, and plans to enthrone Rama were begun, bringing delight to the king's ministers and royal officers. When the news reached the inner chambers of the palace where Queen Kaushalya and Sumitra dwelled, they too were overjoyed and joined in the preparations. Seeing the great rejoicing in Ayodhya, the gods in the heavens became distressed because they feared that once Rama became king, he would no longer be interested in killing Ravana, the lord of demons, which was the purpose for which they had promoted his incarnation in the first place. Thus they approached goddess Saraswati, the deity presiding over intellect and speech, and appealed to her to find a way to prevent Rama from becoming coronated, while at the same time sending him on to forest life so he would perform his heroic deeds of eradicating demons. Finally, overcome by the pleading of the gods, Saraswati Devi thought of a unique scheme to accomplish their objective and came to the earth plane in search of a person whose intellect could be twisted against Rama. However, she found the minds of all the people were so eager for his coronation that it was only after extensive searching that goddess Saraswati found one petty minded personality, the hunchbacked maid servant of Kaikai, whose name was Manthara, who could be manipulated to plant a seed of discontent against Rama. Thus, one day when Manthara was in her own room, she heard the sounds of celebration in the streets and asked what was going on. Because her mistress Queen Kaikai lived in a separate palace, the news of the coronation had not yet reached them. Also, King Dashratha had planned to inform his dear Kaikai about this delightful surprise in person, but had not yet had the opportunity to do so. When Manthara heard from others that Rama was to be crowned, her heart burned with jealousy due to the secret influence of goddess Saraswati. Why, she kept asking herself, should Rama, the son of Kaushalya, be coronated instead of Bharata, the son of her mistress Kaikai? With her twisted intellect, the maid servant then began to plot what she could do to upset the plans for the coronation so that Bharata could be favored for the royal honor instead of Rama. With this in mind, Manthara approached Queen Kaikai with a dejected countenance and then started shedding tears. She then informed Kaikai that Rama was about to be coronated, but in conveying that news, she created a scenario that would arouse jealousy in the heart of the queen. With great effort, she convinced her mistress that the king had deliberately sent her own son Bharata away from Ayodhya to visit Kaikai's parents at that time, and that he had deliberately chosen to not tell Kaikai about the coronation as part of a plan to degrade and humiliate Kaikai while glorifying Kaushalya. Further, Manthara convinced the queen that if Rama ascended to the throne, she would become a maid servant of Kaushalya and live a life of misery. Sorely afflicted by the arrow of Manthara's evil intent, Kaikai begged the maidservant to help her upset the plans for Rama's coronation. Manthara then reminded Kaikai that the king had once offered to fulfill any two boons of her choice and suggested that this was the perfect time to make her two requests. First, that Bharata be coronated instead of a brother, and second, that Rama be banished into the forest for 14 years. By these two boons, said Manthara, Kaushalya would be deprived of all the joy she was expecting the next day at Rama's coronation. Manthara further suggested that Kaikai retire that very night to the Kopagriha, or the sulking room that queens entered in ancient times to bring some dissatisfaction or grievance to the attention of the king. Hearing that she had entered that room afflicted by some problem, Dashratha would quickly come to see her and try to ease the difficulty. Eager to please her, he would surely pledge to grant any boon that she had requested. At that time, after the king had taken an oath in the name of Rama to grant any boons, Kaikeyi would make her request. According to the plan, the king came to Kaikeyi's palace, eager to inform her about the coronation that was to take place the next day. He was sure that she would be as delighted as everyone else in the realm. To his surprise, however, he was informed that she had thrown herself in despair into the sulking room. He hurried to the side of his beloved queen and then tried to find out the cause of her grief. When she indicated that granting her the two promised boons would bring her back to normalcy, he readily pledged to do so. At that moment, Kaikeyi made her request for Bharata to become the successor to the throne and Rama to be banished in the forest in the garb of an ascetic for a period of 14 years. Hearing those burning words of Kaikeyi, the king was shocked and he became speechless. Dasharatha pleaded with Kaikeyi and promised to recall Bharata to the kingdom and crown him as king, even though he was slightly younger than Rama. Then he tried to convince her that Rama should not go to the forest because he could not bear that separation from his son. However, Kaikeyi taunted her husband and would not be moved from her resolve. Seeing the hopelessness of the situation, the king was immersed in grief. He knew that he could not break his promise to Kaikeyi without sacrificing his honor as a king, yet he was shattered and heartbroken at the prospect of losing Rama from his sight. When morning came, Rama was summoned to the palace and he found his father lying on the floor as if enshrouded by death. Kaikeyi told Rama about the boons she had requested and explained that the king was torn between his intense affection for Rama and his honorable duty to grant those boons as promised. Thus she suggested Rama should relieve his father of his suffering and simply renounce the throne and quickly remove himself to the forest. Due to his enlightened consciousness, Rama cheerfully and without hesitation agreed to Kaikeyi's request. Before the eyes of his grief stricken relatives and the citizens of the kingdom, he left for the forest accompanied by his wife Sita and brother Lakshmana. In the divine plan, the destructive jealousy of Manthara and Kaikeyi was an instrument for the greatest good, for it brought Rama into the forest to fight the demons. It was his destiny to conquer them. However, in the practical life of Ayodhya, its effects were devastating. A coronation turned into a banishment. The joyous songs of thousands of citizens of Ayodhya turned into sorrowful lamentations, and a close knit royal family was torn apart, leading to the pathetic death of the distraught king Dashrath himself. The fact that a negative quality can be helpful from the divine perspective does not imply that you should start helping gods by becoming negative. It is your duty to yourself to strive all the time to overcome the negative within. If you encourage your impurities as Kaikeyi did, then God uses you as a demoniac instrument in the divine plan. But if you become a saintly personality, God makes you a tool of sublime nature. While striving to overcome the negative within yourself, however, do not become bitter about the negativity that abounds in others. Those negative qualities are there to urge you to become saintly, to foster and strengthen positive qualities. If the thorns were not present on the rose bush, the bush would not be able to bring forth beautiful flowers. So, too, people who are afflicted with jealousy and hate, and who, without any reason, put obstacles on your path, are important aids in your spiritual evolution. Possessing this understanding should not prevent you from doing everything possible to avoid being harmed by others. But when you can't avoid such harm, understand that it has a purpose and then endure it. Such endurance becomes a powerful austerity on the spiritual path. Om Tat Sat. With this, we end this episode and we will continue our satsang tomorrow, where we will be covering insights into removing jealousy. Hari Om Tat Sat.